You don't need more confidence, you need more courage. Have you heard that saying before? Well, today I'm going to share with you how it's helped me significantly change my life, get out there, start sharing my voice, and build my confidence as a result. Disclaimer: any of the guidance offered by the podcast host, myself, or the podcast guests is our own guidance. We are not liable for any of the actions the podcast listener decides to do. Welcome back to the podcast today with me, Johnny Pardo. So I'm back to doing a solo podcast today. I often am interviewing guests, but today I am back to just sharing my own knowledge. Now, what is confidence and what is courage? I'm going to talk about that today. Because I know if you're listening, you may be someone who's wanting to really share their voice, get yourself out there, progress in your career, in your business, really get yourself more visible. But there's that self-talk that goes, who am I to be talking about this? Who am I to be talking, right? And I've been there. And my story really was that as a teenager, I was very shy often. And even like saying my name in a classroom, I felt shy. I felt embarrassed. I did have friends, but I found it hard, and particularly in my first teenage years, to speak to people. And there are times where I was very lonely and didn't have many friends. And then I remember going to the workplace, and I built a bit of social confidence, made friends and things like that. But when I went into the professional workplace, it was like, if I was in a meeting, I felt so embarrassed to be there, and like, oh my God, I don't even want to say my name. And I'd go bright red. And looking at back now, it's crazy. And if you're in that spot, I'm going to give you some guidance today. I look back now and I'm like, they're just other people, they're just other human beings who are in the room. But often it comes from this like low value I found of myself. It came from this low value of myself. And like, I didn't want to do anything wrong. I wanted to please everyone. And I was scared of any conflict or saying something wrong or people thinking wrongly of me. I don't know why, just for like being in a meeting. And then even when I started my YouTube channel back in 2019, I was so scared to create my first video and put myself out there. Fast forward now, I've got millions, almost 4 million downloads of my podcast, and I'm making very regular videos and interviewing some of the best people at their profession in the world. And I just feel fully confident and excited about that. So I want to share that with you, because you may be someone who's like, I don't want to speak up at a meeting. I don't want to do that presentation. And like, I got to a point now where like, I was scared to speak, but actually I can speak in front of 500 people like I did on stage back in September. And I was wearing shorts and flip-flops, right? I was just so chilled about it. It is a skill you can definitely develop. But confidence, how did I build the confidence? It came from courage. One book that made a massive impact on me when I read it and applied it. Remember, I'm really passionate about this point. If you listen to me today and go, oh, that's great, I'm inspired, and you do nothing, it's a waste of time. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's like information without action is like useless. I have a mentor who says, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. And I agree. It's pointless if you like hear something inspiring and don't put it to action. Now, of course, there's so much information, we're listening to it, that like we can't do everything, right? But if you're really working on building your confidence and you're not taking any kind of action, it's always going to stay the same. And that's what we mean by courage and confidence. Confidence for me is the trust I have in myself, like my ability to do things. Now, how does trust come? Trust comes about by doing things, right? So and everyone's confident at something, or multiple things. Like, and you're saying, I'm not confident at anything. Well, you are. Are you confident to put your bed together, make your bed, right? Yeah, maybe not. Are you confident to brush your teeth? Probably, because most of us do it. Are you confident to put your shoes on? Yes. Are you confident to drive a car if you can drive? Right? Are you confident to do your job, even like to do the basics of it? We all are confident at something. It comes from trust. Now, you may be thinking, well, I'm not confident at speaking out, at sharing my voice. And that's because you don't have any trust with yourself, because you don't do it enough. And it sounds very simple, but I'm going to give you some points to really build into this. So it's not just about taking the action, although that's the biggest part. There's a couple of points I want to add in as well. Now, courage, what is that? Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the feeling of fear, but doing it anyway. And I think I got that from Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It was a really great book. Confidence Gap and Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. 2 books I'd recommend, but don't go and just start reading more information and delay taking action. That's not what I want you to do. I want to give you a very simple podcast today to start applying this, right? Okay. So when I did more courage, I built my confidence. So like, how did I become more confident speaking? By becoming more courageous by speaking when I was absolutely terrified. And it does not mean you have to take a massive step. You can just take small steps. And the tips I'm going to give to you are taken from a couple of the best high performance and self-mastery experts on the planet. And I have interviewed 2 of them as well, by the way. And they really know, they keep it the basics, but very, very effective. And that's the thing, that's the difference I see between these like influencers who are like out there speaking their name on stage in front of people, and people are like, I'm too scared to start, right? There's these crap stories we make up, like I need to do more inner work, I need to do like heal from this, I was called this as a child. And while I'm not saying there's not trauma, because there is for a lot of, well, all of us have trauma to some degree in different ways. I'm not saying don't do the healing and the inner work. People have this story that people who can just become confident, like on stage with all these things and speak up and share their things, it just like easy. No, it's because they've repetitively been courageous and spoken, even if they didn't realize they were doing it. And that's what I've discovered from like my research and even just who I am, even through my story. And I often speak to people who want to start podcasts, who want to speak like publicly, and like they message me and they're like, oh, I really just get, and it's like, it comes back to the same thing every time. You just got to take the action. There is no special golden bullet. It's all about that. But I'm going to give you 3 tips now anyway that I feel will really help you. And the first 2 are really going to put you in a good position to take that action. So number 1, train certainty. What does that mean? We often put, and I certainly have, put my certainty on the outside world. It's like things have to go a certain way and I'll feel certain. No, we have absolutely no control over the outside world and people's responses to what we say and what people do. The only certainty you can have in yourself is you. So train it. How do you train it? Well, think of a time when you felt certain in yourself. You're like, oh, wow, felt so good about myself. And you were just like, I'm 100% going to do that. You knew you could do something, and just embody it. Put it in your morning routine, schedule it. You can put an alarm on your phone to when your alarm goes off. You can put it on silent alarm through the day. Say, be certain. So you can stand there for 30 seconds and just feel like absolutely certain. The more you train it, the more you're going to feel certain within inside yourself. There's a great talk by Amy Cuddy about, and it's about the power pose. It's a TED talk, and she talks about standing with your hands in your hip for 2 minutes and seeing how that changes how you feel. And it does. So you can put that into practice. You can do things like put clothes that make you feel more certain in yourself, right? When I've done like the work from home thing during COVID, and there was a difference between when I was wearing like pajama sort of stuff and I was on the call when no one had their camera on versus actually dressing up well. And I felt a complete and utter difference. When I put a suit on, I felt, you don't have to wear a suit all the time, of course, but like I felt different from when I'm wearing like jogging bottoms and a hoodie, right? Just clothes can play an impact. So music's a big thing. Like playing, I like things like the Suits theme tune and the Lord of the Rings theme tune, because they create like power, like king status, like certainty, like in terms of the music. So listen to something and train yourself to be certain. Even just start with like a couple of 30 seconds a day to just be like, okay, this is me feeling certain. And do you know what? Your brain is going to talk you out of it. So keep it simple, because it's going to be like, you're not a certain person, stop doing that. But the more you do it, the more the brain and the subconscious will take it on board. Okay, number 2, have a setback plan. what's going to happen is life's going to come in. People are going to say things, other things are going to happen outside your control, of course, right? And in the past, I've had this real negative self-talk. It's like, oh my God, everything's a catastrophe. Oh, I feel awful, blah, 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 blah. And all that kind of stuff, right? It likes to do that. Now, what I found is really useful is putting a setback plan in place. And it's just a really simple step. What I do is say, stop, and I catch the negative thoughts. And then I feel good straight away. Now, if it's really intense, what I allow myself to do, or if it keeps coming up, is I allow myself to feel the emotions, if it's something like anxiety, if it's things like anger, if it's maybe something like feeling sad or down or depressed, I will allow myself to feel the emotion for 60 to 90 seconds. So just have some kind of setback plan, proactively have it in place so that when the negative thoughts come in, you interrupt them and you say stop, and you can replace it with a good thought. And like I say, if it gets really intense, allow yourself to feel the emotions, because when you allow yourself to feel the emotions without getting hooked on the story, the feelings will go and release out of your body as well. And then number 3 is what we've been gearing up to, and it's the thing that you probably knew I was going to say, and you don't want to hear it because you think there's going to be some magic other formula where suddenly you become confident. But no, it is the act of courage. So set yourself a courage challenge. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe you're scared of speaking to strangers, and all you've got to do is ask one stranger for the time each day this week. Maybe you have to ask the person who makes your coffee, how is their morning? Maybe you've been scared of posting a video on social media. I'm working with someone currently who's doing awesome, and I made it really small, but she's been posting multiple videos since we started working together. And that's like part of this challenge. It's kind of a challenge for her, but what is your challenge going to be? What is your courage going to be? And the other parts of this one is really essential, absolutely essential. You must celebrate when you take the act of courage, no matter the outcome. Even if, and this is very unlikely, although it could happen, you ask someone for the time, for example, and they told you to fuck off, you still celebrate like crazy. But you said, I took the act. I had a mentor who, him and someone else on a park bench, and there was he said this beautiful hot girl, and they were both hesitating to speak to her, but he went up and said, hi, my name is, and the girl walked off. Do you know what he did? He celebrated like crazy because he took the act of courage, and then he felt good and he did more things like that. So celebrating your courage is going to reinforce your body to do more of it. Think about it. When someone praises you, how good you feel. You're like, I want to do more of that. I want to do it again, right? But do we do it to ourselves? Hardly ever. So make sure you do it because it'll wire yourself to do more of it. So those are my 3 tips in terms of what we've been talking about today. Courage builds your confidence. Okay. So number 1, train your certainty every day. Feel yourself that certain, like you've done something amazing, or think of a past event and done something amazing. Feel it in your body. Wear things that make you feel good. Listen to music that makes you feel good. Even you just keep it simple, just do 30 seconds, listen to music, maybe in a pose where you feel certain. Your brain's going to try and talk you out of it, but keep going. Set yourself a certain amount of days to do it, right? Could be alongside the courage challenge. Number 2, have a setback plan. When those negative voices come in, interrupt it, say stop, and then say a positive thought or just feel good instead. And then, like I say, if it gets too intense, allow yourself to shake out the feelings from your body. And then number 3, set yourself a courage challenge. Do something every day for a week and then celebrate like crazy when you do it. So that's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.